The U.S. is the only country that sentences juveniles to life without parole. We'll explain why that's a big problem on today's BFD. I'm here to talk to James Ross of the Campaign for Fair Sentencing for Youth and to find out why reform is important. James, thanks for joining us.
I'm excited to be with you, David. Thank you. The campaign is a national organization based in Washington, D.C. that works to coordinate and support efforts to end extreme sentences for youth, focusing primarily on life without parole sentences.
So nearly half of all the youth sentenced to life without parole did not actually commit the murder. The idea of life without parole for children who are of undeveloped minds, having no chance whatsoever at getting out of incarceration it's mind-numbing to me.
Well, it's a shocking statistic, David, and the reality is that these young people were convicted of what's called felony murder in many states. And what that means is that they may have been present at the time of the crime. For example, they may have participated in a burglary or a robbery, but had no idea that there was going to be someone killed. And many of the young people who are serving these extreme sentences, expected to die in prison, you're right, they haven't committed the murders. They haven't been the trigger person.
And we're not excusing these crimes, but for children to be incarcerated for the entirety of their lives and to not have hope.
Well, we absolutely understand and believe that young people need to be held accountable for the harm that they cause to others. We also believe that that should be done in an age-appropriate way. Brain science tells us that young people, they literally do not have the capacity to think through their actions in the same way that adults do. We need to develop policies that look to hold young people accountable in ways that reflect their age, their development, and their capacity for change.
So to play devil's advocate here for a second, why should we let these people out?
What we have seen is that in many communities, people who have been convicted of serious crimes as youth, who have gone to prison, been rehabilitated, and had an opportunity at release and a second chance, have gone on to become extremely productive members of society.
And what does this cost us? I mean, to keep these kids in prison for life?
It costs an estimated $2 million to incarcerate someone for life.
The over 2,500 youth in the U.S. sentenced to life without parole over the long term, then the U.S. would end up spending more than $4 billion to incarcerate these children until the day that they grow old and die.
It's an extreme amount of money. State prison budgets have increased sevenfold in the last 25 years. It is now one of the top areas of spending in states that are struggling to pay for basic things like education and other services. And it's not necessarily increasing public safety.
So what are some things that people can do right now to address this problem, and why should they even bother?
The United States is the only country in the world that uses this sentence. I don't know that that's a distinction that we want to continue to hold. There are many ways to get involved. One is to check out our website at fairsentencingofyouth.org. When we are trying to pass bills or to discourage the passage of bills, public input is vitally important. So I think the biggest thing that people can do is learn more, talk with people they know, because many people don't even understand that this sentence occurs.
James, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
It's pretty staggering to think about all those children in prison for the rest of their lives. If you want to learn more about the issue, click the link in the description below and sign the petition to demand reform for mandatory minimum sentencing. For BFD, I'm David Park.